I'm Bill Gross, and welcome to my real estate market update, where every week I update you on where the market is and when they review headlines of what the real estate news tells you what's going on, and then I'll correct them. Now, if you've been following me at all, whether it be email or video, you'll know that I've been taking pot shots at Redfin for a long time. I think I feel betrayed in that they started off to be such a customer-centric company. And for my money, have really turned into nothing more than some sort of a misguided advertising platform. I'm not really sure what the plan is. I did a video on 7 reasons why I hate Redfin and you should too, and that's linked below in the email. And this week, they have not one, not two, but 3 articles I think are all missing the mark, that they're not educating clients, but maybe making them distraught or nervous in a way they shouldn't. Before we get into that, and that's to get in the trophy for the week. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the real estate market and where we are so we can understand where we are going. So I would say in an economy, there's 2 sides. There's the supply and demand. Supply being inventory, sellers, and demand being buyers or interest rates. We start with interest rates. You'll see that rates have dropped now lately back under 7.25%, again at 7.09, second week in a row. And so if you look at the numbers, in fact, I'm going to tighten it up here from the beginning of the year. You can see that we rose from 6s into the 7s, 7s into the 8s, and kind of rejected an 8% number. Not to say that means we're heading down, but we headed down from 8% now down to 7.09, which closed for the last 2 weeks. So rates are headed back, or they've headed back into an area that buyers are very comfortable buying houses. And so that's good news, I think, if you're a buyer, your rate's locked in, or you're looking to buy a property. On the inventory side for sellers, inventory has been below, other than the pandemic level, the entire time. In fact, the only year better than the current year is the peak of the pandemic in 2021. This year's inventory, the amount of houses for sale, is even less than the last 2 years of the pandemic, and is about half of the all-time record low. So we have, by any measure, unbelievably low inventory. One thing I say is always, housing prices can't crash unless there are more sellers than buyers. And with such low inventory, that is not the case. So we're certainly not in a situation where the real estate market is poised to crash. Now, locally here in Los Angeles, there's a great company, Altos Research, that I use to give an overview. They rate the current market in LA as a 40 on their scale of 1 to 100, which is a slight seller's market. It's been in this range all year, this exact number, the last 5 weeks in a row. It had been 42, then 41, and stuck at 40 for a while. So overall, what it tells us is the market is staying fairly tight for inventory for buyers and sellers. One of the key metrics I look at is price per square foot, or what you get, what do you have to pay for 1 square foot of an average house in LA? It's $815. Now, earlier this year, it's been as high as $830, and you can see it's been in that range. Part of what this means is more lower priced houses are selling than higher priced houses are selling. But overall, I would say housing prices are clearly somewhat fixed or locked into where we are. It don't seem to be moving. Now, let's take a look at the real estate headlines, where I maintain that the real estate industry news is almost as bad, if not worse, than the political news. We'll start off with Forbes magazine, housing market predictions for 2024. Sounds interesting. When will home prices be affordable again? This is a constant theme, I believe, of misleading consumers. To say they're affordable or not is not, there's no threshold of when they're affordable, meaning there will never be a day when everybody can afford to buy a house. Now, what there used to be was the average person can afford the average house in that market, and we're not in that by a long shot. But this is a choice that policymakers have made. I live in California. Our government, our state government, county government, local government, has purposely restricted houses that people want to buy, and instead are building only condos and apartments, high-rises near mass transit that people aren't as interested in. And as long as that's the case, if you don't build new houses, the ones that are there go up in price. Up the street of my block, there's a house that the last house sold for $4 million. There's a lot that's just sold for $2 million. So when you have lots that sell, literally dirt for $2 million, there's no way housing can be affordable. And that's because we're allowing less and less houses to be built in Los Angeles County, and California. And so housing affordability is a lame term used to defer buyers from the real problem, which is we're not building enough houses. And so Forbes magazine jumps into that because, again, a lot of their investors in Forbes magazine are big companies that buy rental properties and build these big rental properties. So I think that's the first, I would say, bad headline of the week. Next, Yahoo Finance jumps into the same kind of area. They have home appreciation to cool in 2024, according to Goldman Sachs. You'll see this computer because I just bought a new laptop through Dell. That's why they're advertising it. Anyhow, so what they say is that housing prices are going to cool. But when you read the article, Goldman Sachs, now it's always questionable, is Goldman Sachs giving free information to the consumers? No, they sell information to customers and make a commission for it. So almost anything they say is a head fake to begin with. But their quote is, their forecast is by the end of 2024, prices will likely go back to the 2% type of house appreciation, which is roughly around the trend of the last 30 years or so. So does that sound like it's cooling? It sounds to me like housing appreciation is returning to normal. Well, why is that not the headline, Yahoo Finance? Why is the headline that's cooling? Cooling sounds bad, like the market was warm, hot, and now it's getting cool. No, it's getting normal, returning to normal. And so again, I think Yahoo Finance, again, comes up with a headline, and then the article does not support what their contention is. And now, this week, Redfin had not one, not two, but three different articles. And I think I'll explain it with a fourth as to why I think what's going on with them. The first article they issued, literally December 7th, so a week ago, housing market update, buyers get early holiday gift as rates come down and new listings rise. Now, if you're just the peons, if you're just the subjects of the king and queen, the king, moves his royal scepter and lowers rates, and you get the gift of lower rates. But the economy in America is supposed to be made of our economic activity. Part of the reason why rates are so high is we've allowed government to spend money that we don't have and take more money in taxes that we do have. As a result of the government spending competing with our money, government loans competing raise the rates. It's obvious that when you borrow more money, rates are going to go up. Now, if anything, rates have cooled off a bit because for whatever reason, the government hasn't been able to continue to spend more money as fast as they were and raise taxes and put more projects in place as they were before. Don't know why this isn't a political channel, but just the economic facts are if the government borrows less, rates go down. And that's what's happened. Fortunately, it's slowed down a little bit from rates at 8% to 7.09%. But to look at that as a gift, really, that's our right. We should all, as taxpayers and participants, be involved in those decisions rather than merely be, the subjects of the king and queen on what they allow us to have. Then the second article from Redfin that is, I think, equally misleading is 2023 has been the least affordable year for home buying on record, but 2024 is looking up. Now, again, I want to say the word affordable is deliberately misleading because people can buy a house, are going to buy a house. People can't. And the ones in the middle either are going to be able to afford to buy a house or not. But there's no market that says it's affordable, and it has to do with their numbers. It also has to do with how good the loan officer, their planning, their income documentation. If you get their taxes done early, they could qualify for a loan maybe in January, February. If they don't get their taxes done till late, then they won't. So really a lot is in the hands of the consumer. Saving money, cutting down on expenses, not spending money on expensive things like Christmas or holidays are all things that can help me buy a house. But to make it sound like, well, the market is either affordable or not, it's like telling people to play a game of red light, green light, rather than take individual responsibility and say, hey, 3.7 million people bought a house last year. You could be one of them. How about next year? Maybe 4 million will. Will you be one of them? Here's what you need to do. And so rather than focus on this affordability nonsense, I believe we should be helping people understand what they need to do to be able to achieve their goals and afford what they want. The third article of the three, again, same concepts, I think. Redfin puts out, they predict 2024 will be the year home buyers catch a break, with home prices falling and new listings rising. Now, a couple of things I find offensive about this headline. Number one, what's catching a break? If you mean that the government has not been able to continue to spend as recklessly as they did a year, 2 and 3 ago, and are only spending as recklessly as they are now. If that's catching a break, maybe that's political pressure. Maybe there's something we can do to help make our housing market more affordable. But when you make it sound like, well, you caught a break, as in you went to Vegas and you bet on red and black came up, but now red's going to come up. It takes the control out of the hands of the consumer. And I don't know why Redfin does that, but that's clearly what they're doing with these series of articles. There's another thing, though. It says, they said with home prices falling. Well, home prices aren't falling. They're not. They're going to go up 2% next year. So that's wrong. And it says new listings rising. I'm not sure where that comes up. What they do say is that rates will fall. This is the prediction that Redfin's making in the article. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If rates fall, every time it's happened in the past, there's more demand. There's more buyers that go in and attack the market that's there. It gets harder to buy houses. Better would be to tell buyers, hey, rates may fall more next year. Get ready now so you're at the front of the line. Because every realtor you're ever going to talk to will tell you there are buyers who say want to buy a house who are not prepared, the documents are done, their taxes may not be filed, they have debts they should have paid off. It takes them 30, 60, 90 days to get ready, and by then, rates could jump up again or the house they want is gone. So again, I believe that this is another article that Redfin has that makes buying a house sound like winning the lottery, as if you should play the lottery to buy a house. No. You should not. You should, like a business, cut your expenses, put money away, work hard, be willing to sacrifice. If you do all that, anybody can buy a house in America today. Now, I was doing some research on these articles saying, why is Redfin, where did they make this turn from what used to be a good source of data to I just think a political news source for real estate? And it seems that in every industry we have now market leaders who've decided to play more politics than service their customers. Keep in mind, Redfin has never made a profit. They've basically blown through $1 billion of investor money to survive. The CEO makes $1 million plus a year, and he's worth tens of millions of dollars. But the company has paid $1 in state or federal taxes. So they're not making any money. Well, how do you survive like that as a zombie company? The answer is you have investors who kind of treat you like you're a political cause and invest in you for no other reason than you're on their side. And I think that's where Redfin falls out today. I'm going to give you an example. Now, I'm going to tiptoe into this. I'm not one to get into politics of LGBTQ+. Really not my jam. I have my life. I'm a businessman, and I have my interests, just one I'm just noticing. But what I've noticed is there are companies who much rather, and unfortunately my company played with that a few years ago, much rather play in this field than actually service their customers. So let's take a look at this article in depth and you'll see what I mean. Again, no knock on the rights or not rights of LGBTQ+ to buy property. I'm just saying they're being manipulated by Redfin politically for political advantage. So it says LGBTQ+ renters are more likely to cite a lack of family support and student loans as financial barriers to home ownership. Well, first off, you would say, well, what's the basis for making that claim? So Redfin did a survey of 5,000 people who answered, 5,000 out of their 51 million monthly users. Well, that's a ridiculously small sample, subject to variations for whatever reason. You would think it would skew probably with their own employees and their own vendors and their own agents and such. In addition to that, when you look at the data, they claim that 900 of the 5,000 self-identify as LGBTQ, which is about 20% versus the national average of 7% of home buyers. So already you have a survey that for some reason has 3 times the number of LGBTQ+ respondents as the average market. Again, not saying they're good or bad people. I'm just saying the data is not scientific when you have that kind of variance on a variable like that. Now let's go a little deeper. They say that LGBTQ+ homeowners, prospective buyers, only get help 24% of the time instead of 14% of the time. Well, are there factors involved in that? So for example, one of the common statistics that's known is that LGBTQ+ couples make more money on average than other non-couples. That gay, lesbian, women, men make more money on average than straight. Now, part of that's because of the decision and their lifestyle, the choice they made. Part of that is because the metros they live in. There's a lot of reasons to go into it, but it's a statistical fact. So if they make 10 to 20% more income, doesn't it stand to reason less people are going to support them financially, and they'll need less people to support them financially? The question that's not asked is the home ownership rate. Is the rate of owning property higher or lower than average? Because the answer is it's higher. That they're getting property. I'm not saying they're not deserving of it. I'm just saying they should not be whipped into frenzy thinking they're being discriminated against when they're clearly not, at least it comes to housing. Let's go a little deeper on this. I wanted to kind of also show that in Redfin's survey, they also asked people, would you buy a house where, say, abortion's legal? Now, what does that have to do with LGBTQ plus? I don't know. Racial diversity, okay. How about where marijuana is, recreational marijuana is legal, strong gun controls, socioeconomic diversity, easy access to vote by mail? Basically, this is just a list of progressive political issues. Nothing wrong with them if that's what you believe in. I'm just saying it has no place in a scientific survey of real estate. All you're doing here is you are guiding people and self-selecting people and creating an answer to a question that you want to ask rather than actually analyzing it. And that's my beef with this. At the end of the day, I don't really care what somebody's, and as a professional real estate agent, I can't. I've treated everybody without regards to their race, creed, color, sex, sexual preferences. I'm fine with that. I'm proud to say I do that. I've done that my entire career. What I object to is taking a population, any population, and making it seem like they're being discriminated against when clearly the data doesn't support it. And I think the data proves it's not happening. If you want to support LGBTQ plus political issues, great, good for you. Just don't do it in the context of real estate where it doesn't exist. At least the data Redfin provides shows it does exist, and the opposite's probably true. So at the end of the day, where do you go for data? I think the surveys always show the best source for your local real estate is your local real estate professional. If I can help, reach out, call, text, email. I'm out Bill Gross Probate on social media. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.